We have some great panelists here with us today, all leaders in manufacturing and technology industry. They're here to share their stories and some of their guidance from their experience over the years. So welcome, Christiane, Brenda, Andrea, and Emmanuelle. And they'll introduce themselves in just 1 second. It's not a big surprise that women in manufacturing only hold 1 of 4 leadership positions. Women represent 47% of the workforce, but only 29% in manufacturing. There was a slight increase from about 2010 to 2020, but then when COVID hit and the pandemic hit, we saw a huge decline with women leaving the workforce. In the last couple of years, we have seen a small increase, but as we all know, there's a huge way to go and a way to grow on this. So that's what we're here to talk about today. And we'll discuss 3 themes today with some of our questions with the panelists. The first one is around the changes we've seen over the years for women in the industry. The second will be about breaking down the barriers and some of those silos that we can break down with the challenges that we're seeing. And then lastly, talk about who can help, some things about mentorship. So let's get into the panel. And the first question, we're going to kind of go around to the different panelists first and have them introduce themselves and talk a little bit shortly about their career growth and their career path. So we can start with Emmanuelle, and we'll go down the list.
Hello, thanks for the invitation. I'm Emmanuelle Camus. I'm French. I work for a Norwegian company called Cognite. Cognite has been the first unicorn in Norway, and our business is to help industry with their access to complex data. So I work in manufacturing for 25 plus years, helping clients in many domains. At Cognite, it's mainly continuous process, so steel industry, chemical industry, construction material industry, and also energy. But before that, I was working at PTC, so I was helping customers in their digital transformation across engineering, production, maintenance. So I've got a business background. I don't have a technical background, but anyway, I'm working with this industry, and it's totally a good fit for ladies. So this is what I will share today.
Thank you. So my name is Andrea Ketzer. I am Chief Technology Officer or Tech Strategist at Amazon Web Services for Automotive and Manufacturing. I have nearly 30 years background in the industry. I have been at Nokia in telco. I have been working in the auto industry for a tier 1. And I love technology. This is my passion. I love the transformation, the power of the technology. And combined with the power of female talents, I think this is the magic which is expecting us in the next couple of years. Maybe a fun story. As I said, I have nearly 30 years in the industry, and since I am at Amazon, it's for the very first time in my life that I have a female leader. It's really, Wendy Bauer is my female manager, and I love her. I was excited about this experience. I didn't know what is expecting me, but she is fantastic. She is leading with empathy, so yeah, that's the fun story about me. Brenda.
Yes, I love Wendy as well. So my name's Brenda. I also love leading market transformations and bringing new products to market that really delight customers in new ways. I started fascination with technology working in my parents' tool and die shop, which was literally down the street from my high school. So learned a lot about technology and got fascinated by it and wanted to do CAD instead of drafting on the board, which led me into computer software, which is my whole career. I worked mainly in the Bay Area on the west coast of the United States for a software company called Autodesk for many, many years. But now I work at Siemens. And at Siemens, I do a couple of things. I do business strategy, I do marketing, I do M&A, and I work with our ecosystem partners, a lot of the folks that are here in the room, to really make sure it takes a village in many ways for many things. So it is a pleasure to be here.
So my name is Christiane, and I also love the magic. I love technology, but other than Brenda, I didn't want to get a technologist. I loved to get a book writer. And then my father said I also wanted to have some power in life. And then he said, that's not going together. So he was my first mentor, and he said, "You're good in math, you're good in physics." So I'm here, and I love now the magic, and I love people that brought me to a technology company and to consulting. So I have 25 years of consulting in telco, in media, and in the auto industry, working for Capgemini, being responsible for one of our largest customer in the auto industry, which is Volkswagen. Happy to be here.
Thank you all. So we're going to go back to Brenda. So when you look at the industrial and technology landscape, how have things changed for females since you started in your career?
So I would say a lot has changed, but we need more. And so I would say when I started in my current company, in my current role, which was 5 years ago, I was the only female at the table with the executive team, which is the digital division of Siemens. Here it is 5 years later, there's 4. Okay, so we've quadrupled. I guess that's a great stat. Still a long way to go. And I think that the awareness among all of the male allies is there now. They really realize that the more diversity that we have at the table, not just gender, but many other areas, really does make for a better team. We are more in tune with what is going on with our employees, and we're more in tune with what's going on outside the building. So there's a ton more awareness, but I think there's 2 big issues that we have in our industry, in the tech industry. So number 1 is if you go all the way down, not just looking at who's sitting at the top at the executive table or in a boardroom, if you go down leadership levels, if you start where the funnel starts, which is young women graduating with technical degrees, we're getting better with the statistics, but there's 3 times more men graduating than women from college with technical degrees. So the funnel isn't there to begin with. The second challenge we've got to tackle is most women in their career lose momentum when they leave work for a year or 2 or a couple of months in order to have children. And that actually creates a gap where the men are continuing to make that momentum and the women lose a little. So early in their career, they have these short interruptions, and the original funnel is got issues. So I think we've got to really work on those 2 things, and that's all of us. I think we all can do stuff there. And I think if we really work on those root issues and we continue to understand the value of diversity, the numbers will go up. So it's good, it's getting better, more to go. Anybody want to add?
I couldn't agree more, Brenda. Quadrupled, congratulations, you did something magic. I have a fun story, actually, what changed when I was in my previous company around 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago. I was the engineering leader for a product, and we organized a workshop with a potential partner who was responsible for another product, and we wanted to analyze if the 2 products could come together. We met in a room, and approximately 10 male came in, and I was the only woman in the room. They started to exchange business cards. Everyone got another business card from somebody. I was the only one who was with my business cards in my hand. Nobody wanted my business cards. Nobody gave me a business card. And after approximately 10 minutes, we sat down, and I was the local R&D leader, so I went in front of the room, and I opened the ceremony, and I introduced myself as being the R&D leader, and welcome everyone in the meeting room. And I was so happy to see how they started to change colors from some went super pale and some were super red. And in the first break, they all came to me humble with their business cards and apologized for not considering me. They believe that I am the assistant serving coffee there. I felt so good. I said, yes, suffer, guys. So this is not happening anymore. I think times change big times. This is not anymore the case. So I think we are now seen as equal partners, and that's not anymore the case.
Does anyone else want to add anything? Otherwise, it's a good transition into kind of the next question for Emmanuelle around, how do you think we can further break the silos, right? We've seen some changes that they talked about, right? We've seen growth, and I think we've all seen it if we've been around for a little while. But what are some of the other things we could do to break down some of the additional silos and barriers that we're seeing?
So to break the silos, it's all about sharing information, communication, setting goals on this balanced leadership. And I may recommend 3 things to do from what I've seen. I've been a diversity leader for more than 15 years. So the first thing that companies can do is to share about role models. So we need to show to the younger generation, to any woman sitting here, someone in the company or someone in the sector or someone in the industry who's done it and who's successful and who's happy with it and who can share a story. So it's easy to do. Role models is the first thing. The second thing I encourage companies to do is to run this initiative as programmatic. And what I mean programmatic, it should be a corporate initiative. It could be a corporate goal on balanced leadership with some things you want to measure, with a sponsor, with ambassadors. It's true change management. It's not just a nice thing where you put an ERG in a corner. ERG standing for Enterprise Resource Group, for those who know that. It's the worst thing to do because you put women in a corner, some women take activities in it and they expect things, but they just end with a lot of frustration and resignation because nothing happens, because there is no program, it's not corporate driven. So it's something that should be done. And programs can be mentoring activities, can be leadership activity, can be equity or diversity charter. It can be many, many things.
Things like this.
Yeah, things like this, absolutely. And the third recommendation I would have is to bring men and women. There are tons of programs for women where you can grow in your leadership, where you can grow in daring to ask, daring to position yourself, working on your self-marketing. But we have to educate the men, because the truth is that if we are below 20% in a room, people don't see us. If a minority is less than 20% in a room, this minority is not seen. So we need also to teach the men about this unconscious bias. We don't know what we don't know. So education and bring the men to the table is very important, because we have to teach the men about why diversity is bringing much more efficiency and productivity, and they need to be part of the programs. If we exclude the men, we cannot change it. So it's a 3 recommendation I would give to break the silos.
What I love to add is our values. I often hear, "You're loud." Then I'm thinking, why I'm loud? There have been many men talking in the room, and now I speak up, and then my boss says, "Christiane, you're loud." And then I asked my colleagues, "Are I loud?" And they said, "No, you're not loud. You want to have power, and you know what you want to do. But if a woman starts to speak up, then other men are saying you're loud." So my value is to be efficient, to really get something done. But other men are not understanding that this is then my possibility should be the same than theirs. Yeah? And so accept that you do want to have power and tell it to the others. Don't be shy. Don't talk only about efficiency, pragmacy, whatever. Say that you know what you want to do and that you want the other to listen. That's important.
One more thing to quickly add. So where Emmanuelle went on the programs, I think if the programs have visible metrics, everybody feels a lot more accountable. So there's accountability. We all have to be accountable. So this isn't about women being accountable or men being accountable. Every diverse category, you need to say these are important metrics, and everybody's going to see the metrics, and we're all accountable to drive the metrics. And people have to be your bonus, your pay. I mean, people have to be accountable, just like you're accountable to delivering a product, to delivering profit, to delivering revenue. It has to be a metric that 30% of leadership positions are going to be held by women. Let's measure it. And so I think it's part of the visibility and the transparency, but really this takes all of us, and so everybody has to be accountable.
Yeah, I'm going to add just a little bit to it, because you all hit on some points that made me think of some stories that I've gone through too. So to the getting all of our allies, we'll call them, getting allies on your side and making men known about the unconscious bias. And so I had an incident, probably 15 years ago now, where I was constantly in a room with my team, and I was the only woman on the team, and my manager constantly only directed his eyesight and comments to the other men all the time. And I finally said something to one of the other guys on my team, and I said, it's getting a little ridiculous. And he goes, I never noticed. He's like, what? He's like, I've never noticed it. And I go, can you start noticing it? Like, watch. And so he did. And he's like, we had like a team offsite kind of thing. And the rest of the day, he's like, you're right. He's like, he stares at all of us and he never pays attention to what you're saying. And he's like, I'll stick up for you. So he started sticking up for me. And if I would say something, he's like, and the manager would just overlook it, he would say, oh, I think Tiffany's got a really good idea. We should come back to that. And so he started sticking up for me. So I think it is really important to your part, be loud about it in a way that they know, that your other colleagues know, because he became an ally just because I said something. And then the manager might not have known exactly, but he started to pay attention. So at least it made people aware. So just another story to kind of tie into a lot of the things that were just said as another proof point. And it does make a difference, because that person now makes sure he sticks up for the other women in the team and in broader team within the company. Okay. Moving on to the next question, which a couple people already hit on, was mentorship. We talked about allies. They can be men, they can be women. I'm going to direct this one to Christiane. Can you talk a little bit more about maybe a mentor in your life? You already mentioned your dad, and maybe how they influenced you.
Yes, I love to mention that I grew up with a dad who always said to me when I started to think about what do I want, or what value can I bring, he always looked at me and said, what are your strengths? Tell me. And when I grew up, this was difficult. I always thought, what does he want from me? So I really believe if you know about your strengths and if you have a mentor, then it's always a give and take. So I'm mentoring people, but if I choose them, I feel if they can also give something to me, because I never stop growing. So that's the most important thing. A mentor is not someone who is above you. He stands next to you, yeah? And it's like a friendship. Friends do look at each other and they understand each other, and they are giving something that will bring you forward. And that's the most important thing. It's bilateral and it's not one-way mentorship. That's how I look at it.
Anyone else? Mentorship?
So I would say the other thing on mentoring, you mentioned you have a mentor, but also mentoring folks. To me, mentoring's two ways, to your point. I would encourage everybody in this room to have at least one or two people that you're mentoring, and have 3 people that you can go to that are mentoring you. Even if it's somebody that you're not meeting with monthly, it doesn't have to be so formal. But I have chosen mentors that I think are people that are really critical of me, because then I'm getting brutally honest feedback in a safe environment. And that's really, really valuable, because then I know maybe I had no idea I was being too loud, and that bothers that particular audience, because I'm very loud, like another member on this panel, a few of us. And so it has become evident to me that if I pick mentors that are like me, I don't get a whole lot of value. It's more valuable to have people that I'm mentoring, or to get mentored by people who are pretty critical of me, because I learn so much. And it's a safe place.
Anything to add? Last one.
Last one.
So I have always been mentoring female talents. And I just realized a couple of months ago, no. I will start mentoring male colleagues, because I think they just need a bit of a help to look at us. They just need a bit of a help to realize which value we can add. I'm convinced that we have certain skills which are kind of born in, which we don't need to learn by reading books, like, for example, this capability to interconnect people. The world is getting more and more complex. There is hard to find a company who can solve a problem alone. Usually we need partners. We are partnering up, and we are the ones, we have natural talent to connect. Connect people, connect company, connect products, whatever. Connect is the big word. And I just realized, oh boys, you need a bit of a help, to just recognize that we can help you there. So since few months, I'm mentoring male colleagues. They're a bit stressed with me, but hey, they need help. It's just all I can say. We have our natural talents. Just use them.
Yeah, maybe a last word. So I would recommend every woman, especially the younger one, to apply to a mentoring program. If you don't have any in your company, you can join ones in non-profit organization. I'm a board director in one of the non-profit organization called PWN Global, and we run mentoring program in 30 cities and also running programs, international programs, so for women who want to go internationally. It's a very easy thing to do, and you can grow so much. And if you want to grow in your leadership, it's always good to focus on one skill in your emotional intelligence panel that you want to develop. And as Brenda was sharing, you will find a safe place. You're not talking to someone in your company, you're talking to someone who's external. There is no stake. And I've been a mentor for many years, I've seen ladies blooming up, really blooming up, just because they could talk to someone and we focus on one thing. And as a mentor, I'm very proud about it. And as a mentor, you learn a lot. So once you've been a mentee, you can go to a mentor and then you can grow in your leadership skills too. So I highly recommend that.
Thank you, everyone. Great insights. Andrea, to you. Several of the audience members are aspiring leaders in the industry. Now that you've been in the industry for a while, have some experience under your belt. What advice would you give your younger self?
Yeah, let me put myself into 30 years back. I think I would be more self-confident from the beginning. I was very shy. You can't imagine. I never wanted to be on such a panel. I never wanted to talk to somebody. I was so shy. Don't be shy. There is no reason to be shy. There is and even if you make mistakes, even if something is maybe not super clean, be authentic. Just be self-confident, be authentic. Don't copy a man. They have a different leadership style. They have a different style to deal with situations. And this is perfect, but be yourself. Don't copy somebody, just be authentic. It's a bit similar to educating children, right? So when I remember when my first child was born and I went out for a couple of months from the job, my family came to me with books. How to make a child sleep well, how to educate a child, and started reading books because I wanted to be a good mom. At some point I realized, that's not me, that's just not me. So I closed the books, I put them aside, and I started to be myself. And I'm so proud of my two children, I'm super proud of them. And that's just similar. It's your colleagues are your family in the business, just be authentic. You can read books, but you don't need to copy the books. Just find your own style and follow it. Be authentic to yourself.
So to my younger self, okay, so I would say number one, network. Really network well, because the thing that I think mentoring and networking, which are a little bit different, networking is really making sure you make contact with people and you genuinely exchange information and have a moment with them that you're going to remember from a conversation. Because you never know who you're going to need as an advocate when you can't be in the room. So the thing that I would say is 90% of all positions and promotions are being decided in a boardroom, some closed room somewhere. And you want people in that room, somebody to know you and know about your capabilities. And if you network well, and this isn't about overzealous telling everybody who, the party person. This is about genuine relationships with people that are meaningful so that they can advocate for you when you're not in the room. And I can't impress how important that is. So I wish I would have done more of that in my younger self. And the second thing I would say that I think is really, really important is really think about when you're going in. I've watched this with men versus women as I've gotten older in my career, and I wish I would have known this younger. Men go into a job, and there's a list of qualifications. I got them all. I'm excellent at everything. I can achieve all of these, and let me tell you even more things I can do. And they're sometimes very, very, very confident and a little bit over-exaggerating. Women are a lot more factual in a job interview. These are the things, this is the one area where I'm going to need some help, but I know I can do this job, but here's the areas I'm going to need to focus on. They're much more on the areas to focus on than the areas of I overachieve. And so I would say when I now have negotiated anything in my career, if I have multiple options, I am way better at being confident. So always have a plan B. If you're going in to negotiate a job, you're going in to negotiate a promotion, have a plan B. Well, what if I don't get this? What am I willing to accept, or what are my other options? Because you're going to be a lot more confident and you're going to act a little bit differently at the table. And so I wish I would have known that earlier on in my career. I would have negotiated better.
So I can only add to what they both said. I would not plan too much. Dream about yourself. Have a dream. Network and look at your street. Don't be the risk manager. Be your own hero. Trust in yourself. Be confident on what you want to achieve, and then really look what is out there for you. That's what I would love you to do.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, just one sentence. Plans are useless. Planning is essential.
Yeah, and if I would be my inner younger self, I would do what I've been doing, to be honest, is continuous learning. There is a fact, despite all the progress, is that when you sit at a table with men, sometimes you've got a gate that men don't have to pass. And maybe you've experimented this situation where you sit in a meeting and they want to test you. Because we're in technology or in manufacturing, they want to test if you know what you're talking about. This is just factual, and maybe you've lived it, I've lived it many, many times. So just be professional, learn about yourself, about the stuff you need to deal in your business. And I can tell you, once you cross the gate, you've got much more assets that you can rely on. Because with women, we've got emotional intelligence skills that we can rely on. We've got empathy, we've got listening skills, we care about people. And then when we've crossed the gate of competencies, hard skills, we can play with the soft skills. And then people will remember you. So just continue to learn about yourself, about what you're doing, and it will be all good, and you can grow up and climb any step.
I love all of that. Thank you for all those insights and helping everyone here take another step in their career. That was all we had. I had planned for questions, but I want to open it up. I think we have a few minutes. You guys take open questions. If there's anyone that wants to ask a question, I'll run to you.
I love the comment about being loud, and I really wanted to get opinion from this panelist. How do you deal with the likability? Do you always have to sacrifice likability in order to be loud?
I just don't do it. They don't need to like me. At the end, it's about what they all said. It's a matrix of what you want to achieve, and they should not like me. They should like the results I produce.
Absolutely agree. So to me, I think what's more important is you being yourself. And again, I think you want to work in an organization and you want to work for a leader who respects your strengths. Everybody has strengths. And I think instead of focusing on, here's the things that I don't do, or I'm too loud or whatever, but here's the thing I bring to the table that maybe others don't. So be really good at knowing what's the good strengths that I bring to this, and be loud about those things. Because again, if you're loud and if they don't like the rest or they don't like you, that doesn't really matter. I bring something to the table that you need. And so be confident about that.
Yeah, I wanted to say exactly the same thing. Usually women, we always focus on what we can improve. But the truth is you've got things you're very good at. And when you're in a crisis situation or things you need to solve, just rely on where you're good at. And you know you're better than others on that one. And just focus on where you're good at, not where you could be better at. And just go there.
I remember a sentence when I was taking the bus in a city, and the sentence was, nobody is less authentic than somebody who wants to be liked by everyone. I think you don't need to be liked by everyone. You need to like yourself. And at the end of the day, the KPIs Brenda was mentioning, they count. You achieve something, and people will see what you achieved. They will like your results.
We're going to quote that later. No, I was kidding. Any other questions anyone wants to ask? Yeah.
So one of the things that I've struggled with is saying no as a woman, and the response that I get from men when I say no or when I challenge what they're trying to do versus when a man does it. Do you have any tips or tricks on how to do that and maybe deliver it in a different way, or I don't know where, I'm going wrong?
How about offering alternatives? Keep that as an idea. Don't play it down. Nobody likes that. But keep it as an option on the table. Offer alternatives, and then let the data decide which one will win the race. Christiane, you wanted to say?
The only thing I'll add is I actually think I have gained more respect the more I've said no. So maybe don't underestimate it. I would say one of the things that I notice now, say we're in a meeting and we're thinking about a value proposition for a product, and everybody's talking about their brainstorming, and most of the times we're talking about the nitty-gritty feature that is so important to the engineers in the room. And I'm an engineer. But anyways, I will normally say, do you think the customer cares? Because I don't like that. And then they're like, well, you're not going to want to talk about this feature. And I'm like, no, I don't think I do. I think I want to flip. That feature's really important, and I'm glad we have it in our product. But if it doesn't do something different for the customer, how are we going to create that? Like, let's think about and I try to reframe and help them go to where I'm trying to go. And so then I feel more comfortable because I've challenged and said no. So I don't know if that helps.
It's something you can practice with a mentor, daring to say no, because to be honest, all women struggle with that. And you can always, of course, have options, and remind that having focus is very important. And to have focus, you cannot do everything. And you can also remember this small sentence, less is more. Less is more. But it's something you could practice with a mentor. Just the fact you're self-aware, you can practice it.
Any other questions? Oh, yeah.
So I lead a women's group within my org, and one of the questions that has come up, and that we're actually a speaker on Friday, is imposter syndrome. So I was curious if you've ever felt that, and how did you deal with it kind of in the moment that happened?
I am so familiar with the imposter syndrome. I came to Amazon and I kept asking, why did they hire me? They don't need me, they are all so smart. Collect data, collect success stories, keep working. I mean, we are all working hard, and keep working. Collect the data which is proving yourself, not others. It's all about you. The imposter syndrome is from yourself. So collect data which is helping you, giving the confidence, I'm good. I can add value. That's all. So after almost 2 years, I kind of got over, but I'm still working on it.
So I had early in my career, I had a great HR P&O partner, and we were talking about me feeling like credibility. Do I have the credibility to go for this role, the credibility? And she said to me, you know what, Brenda, nobody cares about your career but you and your mom. And I went, what? And it stuck with me. I talk about it a lot to people where I know this really matters to you, but nobody cares about it but you and your mom. What matters is the ability that you internalize that this is where you have passion and you really want to have this dream and you want to do this. And so make this about you and make it about your personal integrity, and then all this other imposter stuff's going to kind of go away because nobody really cares but your mom. So take that off the table and just go in with the passion. And so that 3 little words, nobody cares but your mom, nobody cares but your mom. And I've used that in every mentoring situation. It's actually kind of true as I've gone through my career. As much as I think these people are my, championing things, they are your advocates. But again, they care about the business at the end of the day. So think about that. Maybe it'll help.
Yeah, maybe I can share something else. So by the way, I still have imposter syndrome, okay? So it's not getting away. And it's okay to accept it and maybe cope with it. Usually we put the bar here while people are expecting you here. So sometimes just remember yourself, okay, I just need to be here, not here. This is what I'm practicing. And to be honest, the more you go up in leadership, the more you have to deal with ambiguity and complexity. So the more you have to cope with not being here, but here. But just say, okay, it's okay if I'm here. I don't need to be here. So.
Only one thing to add, let's get feedback. Yeah, feedback is a gift. So if your bar is here, you will realize if you get feedback.
So first I want to say thank you so much to the panelists. Thank you for being here today and sharing your insights with everyone in the room and everyone that's going to watch us eventually again. So thank you to all of you. Round of applause for our panelists, please. Thank you so much.